His only injury has Eric. He had a little knee sprain. Probably going to be a few weeks. Nothing we're concerned about, but it'll take him some time away. Yeah.
He did that early in practice Wednesday, and then he kind of battled through it.
Just a bruise, and because it didn't bother him that bad, but it was hurting him a little after, and got the MRI, and so I got to hold him out for a little bit.
When do you think that Javon Kinlaw will start to get kind of folded into the team stuff?
Him and Mike joining us tomorrow.
Kyle, just what have you seen from Charvarius Ward over the first couple of days? He had a couple good pass breakups yesterday.
Tarvarius coming back from his rough injury, missing all of last year. It took him. It was tough in OTAs without being out so long and just being a little rusty, and seeing him here these last 2 days has been great because he's got that rust off working through OTAs. Looks like the guy we remember, and give him a chance to make our team and really help us too.
E-Man also mentioned he's been a great leader in the locker room. Is he more of a vocal guy or show by example?
E-Man. Oh, I thought E-Man was talking about himself. Yeah, I think Tarvarius, I would guess he's a little sneaky because he's in a good way. He's quiet and shy, I think, around us a little bit more, but I think he's really opens up with the players. He's been here for a while, so guys know him well. He's a very likable guy, and I think they all respect the heck out of him.
Yesterday, Trey said that it was a good day, even though there had way too many turnovers, but from a learning experience. Is that unusual for someone at this point in his career to realize how important that is, or is that part of what makes him special?
I don't know yet. We'll see as it goes, but I think he said that because it was a real good day. I left the field feeling real good about not just him, but a number of the quarterbacks. All three of them and what they did. Never feel good about the number of picks, but it's nice to be the head coach because on those plays I got excited about the defense. But I just like that they're ripping it. What you don't want guys to do, especially in training camp, is say, I thought it was there, but I don't want to throw a pick, so I check it down. Sometimes you need to know whether it was there, and the only way you do that is by letting it rip. And that's why you don't kill guys for picks in practice. If it becomes too much, then you got to start coaching them how not to do it. But at least you got an idea of what they're capable of, what they can make, the plays that they can make. So then as a coach, you can somewhat protect them a little bit, or you realize, man, he can throw that no matter what. So I got to make sure I want to get that first right look, and that's what we're working through right now.
There's no updates on Debo, I'm guessing, but is there, when he's doing conditioning and stuff, running on the side, does he do jugs machine, catch balls also? Have you seen him do any of that stuff?
I haven't seen any of it just because I'm working at the time. I know conditioning is the most important part, but I'm sure he's catching balls.
Is Trent Williams due back today?
Yes, he was in the team meeting earlier. Trent had a baby a few days ago, so he had it up in Oakland. He's been there in the hospital, and he got back last night, and he was in the team meeting, so expect to see him out of practice.
Now, with Jalen Moore, I know you guys wanted to work him at guard, and he wasn't able to just because of circumstance last year. It seems like that circumstance, is that still kind of the plan for him, and how do you envision that right guard situation?
We got a lot of candidates. I know the guys you guys saw there yesterday who did it mainly in OTAs, which OTAs we didn't get a lot of team reps of that stuff. But Jalen, we gave him some work there, especially with Mike out. We're starting him here at right tackle. But you got your starters who play those 5 spots, and everyone else, you want to be able to play them anywhere. You only get so many guys up on game day, and all our tackles, we'd like to be able to play at guard, and that's what we're trying to figure out what he can do right now.
When Mike comes back, will Jalen move back to guard? And has Burford impressed you enough that he's got a shot at being your week 1 starter at that right guard spot?
He's got a shot. Yeah, I think a number of guys have shots, but those are things I don't try not to think about too much right now. I don't, because it's the second day. We haven't even put pads on. I don't try to get too excited about guys yet. You just try to take it day by day because there's a lot of football to be played, and especially that we haven't even put the pads on yet. So he's done a good job in everything we asked. A number of the guys have. There's a lot of names in there I think you guys don't know, but or that the fans probably don't know, but there's a lot of candidates who got the ability to do it, and now we got to see who can handle the marathon of camp and who's poised enough to handle those real games.
Back in the spring, you seemed perfectly fine with Nick Bosa not being on hand for the OTAs because you knew what his routine was back in South Florida. Do you know the detail, the level to which he and his brother go during those kind of all-season training that they do?
I got a good idea just talking to him about it and stuff. I mean, I know he's real close with Joey, so they like to spend that time together. I also know those. I mean, I don't know Joey very well, but I'm sure they're very similar. They're as committed to their craft as anyone I've been around. They do have a plan. I think it's also different with that position. I mean, I'd always want people hearing stuff, but that we don't do much on the D-line and OTAs anyways. And with what they do in their routine, it's something that hasn't bothered me at all, especially how good a shape he is every time he comes here. I was real excited with Nick yesterday getting some team reps and jumping in there, and he hasn't got that since he's been here. You know, the first year I think he got hurt in like the first week here. The second year he was coming off the second year he got hurt too, but then hurt his ACL in the second game, so didn't get to practice at all last year until the week 1. And this is really the first time I see him completely healthy, ready to go, and I think his game can even get better the more he practices.
How much of, with Jimmy, how much of the element of you don't want to just give him away at this point to a team that you might be facing early in the season? And is this something, I mean, are those communication doors still open between you and Jimmy? You guys talk daily? Is he eager?
Just because he's doing his deal when I'm running around. We'll probably see him today just to catch up with him. But no, Jimmy is working out hard, throwing the heck out of the ball. I told you guys everything about the situation. I'm not going to tell you guys every single thing in my head, but it's just you can figure it out when I say we have to do what's right for this organization, and we're going to do everything we can to make it as good as possible for Jimmy while always doing what's right for this organization at the same time.
And do you sense that he's getting anxious, eager to let me turn the page? I need to know what's going to happen to myself this year.
Yeah, I think everyone does. I mean, I think he's handled it great, but it's the reality of this business. It's the reality of everything. I think sometimes you got to wait on stuff, and I think he understands that. You know, you wish it could be differently, but this is his business, and he understands that, and it makes complete sense to him and to us. So it is what it is, as we keep saying.
Just wondered the overall philosophy this preseason. I know a lot of vets like Kittle don't normally see time, but with a new quarterback, does that change your thinking at all? I know there's always that risk of injury, but just timing and chemistry-wise.
A little bit. I mean, I play it out. I see where our team is going into that week, and I try to decide who I think needs some stuff, who doesn't. It's a huge challenge this year in terms of, you know, last year we had 3 games. They were all 7 days apart. I think one was 8 days apart. So it was such a smooth routine. This year, we have 3 games in 12 days, which is, I mean, that's impossible. And then after that, we wait 17 days to play in a game again. So this year, it's not as much about the games at all to me, because I got to figure out how to get practice in and how to get people through a game. When you play 3 games in 12 days, the only way to do that is not practice at all. And that's definitely not an option. I think the practices always, I've said this my whole career, are much more important to me than preseason games. So it's going to be tough this year, just because of how the schedule pans out. And you don't have a choice on that. It's just what you got to deal with. I've gone through with the players. That's why I feel like these first 2 weeks are so important before the Packers game, because once that Packers game happens, I think it's 2 days before we travel to Minnesota. Got 2 practices, playing a Saturday night. I think we get back at like 6 in the morning on Sunday. And then I think we're traveling to Houston on Wednesday, and we're playing Houston on Thursday. And so it's just a whirlwind of games. And all of a sudden it's now chill for 17 days. So I got to really just balance that out, and with the help of our medical staff and all the position coaches, and something we'll figure out as we go.
Looking at the nickel position and who might take over at that point, are you going to rotate guys in through training camp? You probably have an idea who's going to be in there.
Idea, but I see it similar to the inside positions on the line you're talking about. There's not like a solidified guy. There's not a guy who's done it for a long time, but there's a bunch of guys that we do believe in that have the ability to do it, and we think have the skill set to do it. So that's the thing, we're repping as much as we can to see who's tough enough to handle it, who can get better throughout camp, not just have a couple good days and take steps back. And that's why it's going to be a process here to figure that out.
You mentioned the musical chairs along the offensive line, but the last couple of days, Spencer Burford has been the right guard. What are you seeing with him, whether it's picking up the offense quickly, athleticism? What does he bring to the table?
I mean, we saw when we drafted him, we liked his ability to run, how we thought he was a very good scheme fit for us. When it comes to our run game, you got to be able to move very well. And then when it comes to the pass game, it's quick feet and length. And he has both of those things. Played at a little smaller school, but he came in OTAs and handled that well. But we also didn't do much. But it looked the part in individual, along with a couple other guys. And he's got the first crack here these first 2 days. But it's not something that we've discussed a ton. We're just kind of letting him play out.
Maybe you've said that this way in the past, but on whatever day that was, Tuesday, you really talked about how much you like this roster at this stage. Do you feel more confident and more pleased, more satisfied with the roster right now than you ever have at the start of any training camp since you've been here?
Probably. I might probably have said that before too. You usually do get there through after OTAs when you look at it stuff, and no matter what, you don't trick yourself, but you almost always feel that way as a coach. But when I look at just our team and some of the good rosters we've had going in, I thought we had a lot of inexperience at wideout. I think that's kind of changed. I think our wideouts have been here now. I think we got a pretty real solid group, probably as good of a group as we've had since we've been here. I think we really improved our secondary in the offseason. Getting Ward, having E-Man healthy, how good he looks right now. Hopefully getting JV back. The fact that we had to play some rookies last year who weren't quite ready, but they still survived and got that experience, which will help this year and give us more depth than we had last year. Love our linebackers, love our D-line. We got some good tight ends. We got some good backs. We got some good O-linemen. And we got some inside guys on O-line and a quarterback who haven't played a lot. But we got the team around them to help them, and that's what I'm excited about.
One more.
When you got Nick Bosa going against some of your backup offensive linemen, do you ever feel like, all right, Nick, just take a break. We need to do some practice. Now you're wrecking our offense. I mean, do you ever feel that, or are you just like, get going, Nick?
I don't care because Nick is such a good athlete. He gets by the quarterback, then gets away. So he's definitely stopping him most of the plays he's in, but it usually doesn't stop the play. He's one of the best guys at getting there and not running in anybody. So that's why most of the better athletes are. If you had 22 guys out there like that, it'd be much easier not to get guys hurt. But no, it's also great against him not always going against Trent. There's certain moves that Nick wants to try, but he's very smart. There's some things he won't try versus Nick that he might try versus McKivitz, or he might try versus McGlinchey, and it switches back and forth, so it's good for him to change it up.
Play in practice the first day where Ken Diche threw Ty Davis-Price down. Did you guys have to have a talk with him about how you practice?
Yeah, we do that every day. We're pretty good at it here. We go, I think, as hard as any team, but we also take care of our guys, I think, as well as any team. And we never stop with that. Every morning after practice, we come in here and I show all the clips from the day on how people put guys in vulnerable spots. And that was the worst one we've had so far. But I show 6 clips of everybody every day and how you beat this guy, but don't finish him. We know you did, but you don't have to show us with our own player. You can show it in the preseason game. And that's stuff you can never stop talking about or it gets carried away. All right, thanks, guys.